Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here on Friday with you guys, closing out the work week with just a few games on the slate. I believe we got 5 of these things to look through. A little small slate on Friday after 9 games on Thursday. We're going to be looking at some sides and totals. Also got our player props in this episode, so make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along all season with us. Let's go ahead and get right into a game. Missing a couple guys here, or at least it's missing Ant. I will say that in this Timberwolves and Rockets game, but you do still like the Wolves to cover here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Wolves are getting a little value just because Ant's out. We just saw them absolutely blast a lifeless Bucks team without him. But I think they've got guys who have really taken a leap forward offensively, mainly Jaden McDaniels and Dante. And you get Rudy Gobert back here to defend the back line against a Houston team that's just like has nothing going on the perimeter, man. Like their perimeter offense is just dreadful. It's just all KD. And JDM, who is great on offense, has also done a pretty good job defensively against Durant. He's one of the few guys long enough to actually bother him. Last 3 against JD. Durant is a minus 33 in 112 offensive rating. The Suns lost all those handily. We know the Wolves had the Suns numbered there. But I mean, this last 2 in particular shot very poorly against JDM. And Şengün, while he's put up some points against Gobert, he's also been a minus in the box score. But the spot here, Houston is on a back-to-back. They're 0-3 straight up on back-to-backs or against the spread, failing to cover by 17.5 points per game so far this season. So gone are the last year numbers where they were like extremely resilient in these short rest spots. And then like last 7, these teams are in complete opposite directions. If you just go with the boomer stat here, in the last 7, the Minnesota Timberwolves are the number 1 field goal shooting team in the NBA. The Rockets are 30th. They're number 2 in offensive rating, 2nd in net, 2nd in defensive rebounding rate, which is huge against the Rockets. And the Rockets, yeah, like I said, struggling. They haven't covered in 7 straight. They haven't covered since they played the hungover Nets on New Year's Day, where Michael Porter Jr., of course, was unavailable. And yeah, I just don't think they have enough offense to really pull away from a team that's balanced, and seem to get a wake-up call with that Atlanta home loss 7 games ago. And since then, they've been on a tear.
Yeah, I'm with it. I like the spot for them. I mean, Houston, I don't know what to make of with them right now, the way that they're playing, pulling out games, like you were saying. So I'll still back the Wolves in this spot here with the guys that they have coming off the bench to supplement or supplant Ant in this one. But let me go to a game. I think we're ripe for a bunch of unders, honestly. And I think you're in agreement with a couple of looks you have here. I mean, starting with this one with the Nets and Bulls, like still no Josh Giddey, just a completely different Bulls team without Josh Giddey. I mean, they play slower. They play 3 points per 100 possessions slower there. Then they also play actually better defense and worse offense. It's pretty expected. The defense part, I guess, is somewhat expected. You're getting a little bit more like Jalen Smith down low, which I guess is a little bit more helpful. I don't guess it has been more helpful. They've been better limiting stuff around the paint, a little bit more IO, and honestly, even Kevin Huerter out there has also increased defense on the perimeter a bunch. So like it's a lot better there in that sense. For Brooklyn, it's been really bad on offense as of late as well. Brooklyn's really been, it's not bad on defense. They were not the number 1 defense in the league like they were for a handful of weeks, but they are still in the top 15. And they are still playing really, really slowly as well. And then you add the struggles that they've had on offense, sort of trying to incorporate Cam Thomas back into things, but also just playing a lot more mishmashy lineups. Like here's Day'Ron Sharpe for an extra 8 minutes in this game. We're going to actually not really have Claxton crashing the offensive boards. He has actually been way down in his offensive rebound percentage, and they were actually relying on second chance points as well earlier in the year. So I just not much going for them on offense. I do like Chicago a little bit more in this one, just with the way that Brooklyn's been reeling. I could see this a little bit more of a get right game for them to win against Chicago, but I just don't think points are going to be coming hard in this one.
Yeah, it rarely is in Brooklyn, in the dead arena that is the Barclays Center. Yeah. Still could consider Michael Porter Jr. to go off against a very bad defense, but his props are so high. Not really that interested in that. Could keep going with our boy Joman though, as he plays off those 2 guys. But I've also got an under here. I mean, I lean towards the Pacers as well. But I think if they win, it's because they're just grinding it out and being more competitive than we gave them credit for, or than they were earlier in the season, because they didn't have their heartbeat Aaron Nesmith, which is kind of funny to say. But I mean, with both Nesmith and Nembhard in there, they're going to be pretty dogged on the perimeter. They're a little tough to score on. I mean, in their last 8, number 8 defensive rating, they've just been real bad on offense in that span still. So we're 7-1 to the under. And then you look at their last 6 at home, it's even more stark. The 6th best defensive rating, 28th in offensive rating. Jay Huff, who we like to fade as just getting yanked for a while, suddenly actually doing a pretty good job as a rim protector. 96 defensive rating in these last 3 home games. And you look at the Pels, like why you might just want to take Pacers here. 3-15 straight up on the road this season. Wins over the Wizards, the Bulls when they're reeling, the Mavs way back. -13 margin of victory as road dogs. So they've covered a few, but like not spreads this small. And the tied for the fourth worst net rating on the road. There's some interesting matchup data though that steered me away as far as like Pacers have not been great defending the paint. The Pelicans almost exclusively score in the paint. Zion has had some success against Siakam and this defense, but I think the Pacers just have some mojo going at home. Be interested in TJ McConnell's stuff. Maybe just parlaying his little like 15 PRA with the Pacers money line, and then you're at plus money because the Pels are sitting Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. Their bench defense is going to be real dreadful. So I like TJ here as well.
Yeah, that all makes sense. And I definitely like the under here. When you see that number in Indiana right now, especially, I think that's a really, really good under there. Pelicans, yeah, don't trust them anywhere at this point. But also don't trust these two teams to score very much. And the Kings are playing really slowly. So I do like an under in this game because if you look at the Wizards, yes, there's no D. They are still top 5 in pace in the last 5, and they are bottom 5 in defense in the last 5. Kings, though, have been okay, and they're playing at a 95 pace at this point, and we are getting the full sort of like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, choppy, slow. Is there a half-court offense? Does anyone want to get out in transition? No. Okay. A little bit of Malik Monk in here and there, but like for the most part, you're getting those guys. You're getting a little bit more Keon Ellis off the bench too with Malik Monk. Like that's why they're at this 95 pace. That's why their games in their last 5 are basically averaging about like 218 is the number here. The one way they got smacked by the Warriors, they gave up 137 in that game. That was about a week ago now. And other than that, every single game is going pretty cleanly under 236 or so for them. And this 234 total with Washington, then you go, okay, well, Washington can't play defense. The Kings have been like healthy on offense, even though they're playing so slow. Maybe they can take advantage. But yeah, Washington, since the trade, has averaged 105 points per game, including that 93 that they put up against Phoenix here a couple games ago. I don't trust them at all in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think they want to win. I think we've made that pretty clear, the way that they're sort of tanking by just playing deep rotations of guys that just like AJ Johnson's getting minutes now, right? 25 minutes. He's a part of this rotation. You went from CJ McCollum and occasionally Corey Kispert when he actually played to those guys. So the offense is just gone. It's the worst in the league at this point. So as bad as the defense is, the Kings aren't trying to run you out the gym. They're really just taking things nice and slow and then actually being pretty good. I would also probably take them to handle business at home in this one if you like that. It's like a 7.5 point spread. Really not too scared of that either, but I think they handle business with the under going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that leads me to personally go just bet the Wizards team under once again, which I think you talked about like a Wizards under last week. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take that and not worry about them giving up 140 because they are one of the least competitive teams out there. They can always get absolutely steamrolled. But I mean, I don't think their offense has done anything since they let CJ McCollum walk. And that was by design because they don't want to win any games. And so on the other side here, there is some interesting wrenches that can be thrown into this game in terms of Sabonis might play for the first time in months, in terms of Dennis Schroeder coming back from the suspension. I'm not sure if the team's going to be that eager to just roll Schroeder back into there in any sort of main role. They have a lot of redundancy with the point guard position. And Westbrook, I mean, has been the engine of this 3-game win streak, this nice little hot streak, both him and Precious Achiuwa, as far as the rapport that they've develop. So I mean, maybe those guys still play the lion's share of the minutes, but in these last 3, Westbrook is second in the NBA in passes per game, 3rd in assists, 4th in potential assists at 15.3. Now facing a Wizards team that, of course, really sucks. Defensively, gives up the 2nd most assists per game, gives up 120 points per game last 7 on the road. Of course, the most field goal attempts as well on the season because they just play fast and loose. And in his last two against the Wiz with Jokic in Denver, so not many potential assists to go around, Westbrook averaged 11.5 dimes per game. Another tiny revenge spot because he's played for almost every NBA team at this point, but he does like to go up against the Wiz. And he did average 9 assists per game so far now in 10 without Schroeder. So if you could tell me that Schroeder isn't, going to be a main part of this rotation, he's going to be like under 18 minutes, I'd be I'd be more bullish on this, which I think is a good price here at the 8 dimes. And also we'll note he averaged 8.8 dimes his last 4 with Sabonis before Sabonis went down earlier this season.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's the Wizards. I don't have anything to tell you shouldn't do this. And even it's still Russell at this point. Domas might throw a wrench into things, but even when he was playing, you kind of hinted at it. Like it's not like he was really playing in that same dribble handoff role. It's just Sacramento, man. You guys just shot yourselves completely in the foot over the last couple of years. It's brutal to watch. Lonzo Ball is going to be playing a lot more in this game than you've seen of him lately because he really is. I think they're going to play him in the playoffs as well. I know he's been a little bit banged up, but they also were just kind of like, let's not bring him back too much with Darius healthy, with Sam Merrill healthy, Craig Porter Jr. getting some minutes. Well, Sam Merrill and Darius are out in this game. So I'm going right to Lonzo, who only saw 15 minutes in the last game that they played when they just played this matchup against Philly and still ended up with the assists and the rebounds. He's only got PRA available in one spot, but I think he's good for 20 to 24 minutes. And that means 4 assists for Lonzo, who's actually at about 4.5 in about 24 minutes per game without Darius Garland. So it's just going right back to that spot. And I kind of like that it's a little bit forgotten. And the fact that Craig Porter Jr. is around definitely comes into play. But they've shown that, like Atkinson has shown that when Ball plays in games without Darius, these are the minutes he gets. And this is how he interacts with the offense is through the dimes. And if you can get the rebounds too, and you get like a 6.5, 7.5 RA or something like that, I'm totally fine with that number as well.
Yeah, you love the opportunity cost for Lonzo Ball when he can get in there and when he's been on ice for a while that he can actually put up some minutes because minutes equal production for this guy. He is an engine. We picked a lot of unders tonight, but I think this 232 total might be right for an over with Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly getting a little get back after getting smacked by the Cavs just 2 nights ago. We would expect them to be much better offensively. Tyrese Maxey to be better after letting everybody down. They expected him in that matchup, and the Cavs to come right back with Donnie and company. But do have an under here on the props, and kudos to the NBA community, to the market here for driving this down 1 so far, because we are no longer all just fish trying to take the next man up when a guy like Anthony Edwards sits and saying, well, of course Randle's going to go off. This is a really tough matchup for Julius Randle to get this number, which is now 37.5 PRA, still pretty high if you can get it there. Primarily the assists are going to be hard to come by against Houston. They're top 5 limiting assists. They're number 1 limiting corner 3 attempts, which is where he'd be kicking the ball a lot. They're also just number 1 limiting power forwards across the board, every stat. And they've been even better against the power forward in these last 15, despite struggling against other positions. They've allowed just 18 points per game to power forwards. Jabari Smith is a really good matchup for Randle. They're still limiting field goal attempts at the rim, especially when they've been home. And this is a get back spot, at least for their defense. Their defense was pretty good against OKC last night. Let's not shrug at their defense. I'm fading the Houston offense is why I think this is going to be a close one. But Randle, with extra eyes on him, being the man against a really good defense, how'd that go in the playoffs against OKC? It does not go well sometimes. And yes, he got over against Houston last time out, but he went 5 for 6 from 3. The previous matchup, he was 0 for 1 for 3 and only got to 30 PRA. It's basically like if he's not having these outlier shooting nights, which he obviously did last time out against the Bucks. The previous 3 with Ant, he was at 34 PRA because he was shooting 28% from 3 and had a 102 offensive rating against Sac and Memphis. Memphis being, kind of a similar matchup, I'd say, with Triple J and Jabari. Triple J did a really good job on Randle in that one.
Yeah, for sure. Without Ant, he's just played cupcakes. The one team that I respect their defense that he's played without Ant is the Golden State Warriors. I believe they were missing a couple of guys in that one too. And I mean, it's just they're reeling in general. Nice win against the Knicks last night. But for Julius, it's like you look at the cupcakes, and I thought this would, I guess it was, right? It was 37.5. I even thought you'd see 38.5 just because of like past stuff. But the market, like you said, is actually being pretty intelligent about this and like starting to get it down to 36.5 or so. But it's a easy look when you look at the cupcakes that he's played without Ant. It's really misleading data there that I hope we can take advantage of. So Saddiq Bey is still just really low, man. I have my number for him at about 15 and 16.5 when he's playing without Herb Jones. Like I'm still hitting those numbers, and we're getting this down to 13.5. I was wrong to bet him in the last game, and he still had 12 points in 26 minutes. I was just expecting him to play the full 33 or 34 that he does when Herb Jones is not available, as he is unavailable tonight. But he only played 26 because he was coming back from injury. Well, now he's got a couple more days rest. The first game back from injury, which was the first night of a back-to-back, right? He played full minutes in his first game back, like 32. Goes cleanly over 13.5. This is getting like, this is already down at 13.5, minus 107. If it does trickle into 12.5, great. I don't care if this moves against me. I actually only need about 26 to 27 minutes for Saddiq Bey in these situations to still feel good about this spot for him. It's not a great matchup when you look at spot up stuff versus Indiana, but he also scores 38% of his points at the rim. So he's either going to be taking that pull up or spot up, or he's going to be driving to the rim. But both things I'm fine with, even though the Pacers defense does limit the catch and shoot stuff. I'm super unworried about that at this low number for him.
Yeah, that's the key, right? I mean, is they limit catch and shoots because they run people off the line, and Saddiq Bey hasn't even been hot from the line, so from beyond the arc. So he's going to be fine with that, right? I mean, he's going to be attacking the basket, and while Jay Huff has had this nice little stretch, I don't think they really have much rim protection back there at the back line.
No, and Jay Huff's going to be trying to deal with Derek Queen, who also plays pretty high up, so that limits his ability to stay down there and block shots. It's going to be pretty easy for guys to get to the rim, I would imagine. That's why you see Zion stuff so high at like 23.5 or so. We'll see. I think Saddiq Bey is a way better value play, but that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Coming back to you next week with plenty more NBA action each and every weekday. So until we see you next, happy betting.